Hi friends, it's Angie. I think I'll entitle this Too Many Tabs Open in My Brain. And I think one of the reasons why I built up a really solid, suppressed, but solid YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers is because full self-expression, I just let it all out. And as a survivor, I think the thing that keeps me going the most is other survivors saying, you help me keep going, you know, and I'm not looking for any plaudits for that, but I just had to spill the whole way I first came online was I thought I would explode if I couldn't talk to somebody, and there was nobody. So I set a camera up and I just spilled my guts. And that original DVD, edited by a 15-year-old who went on to go to film school and is doing great things, it brought in thousands of views and survivors, and it solved issues. It identified offenders, perpetrators, like when there were 5 people reporting the same person, you know, things like that. It bore a lot of fruit. So that's Chasing Rainbows. It was on my old YouTube channel. I think it's on my BitChute. But for now, I just need to, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to be any persona, like semi-retired journalist, which I am, you know, published author, which I am, not books and books like Sean Attwood or whoever, but, you know, I've published poetry and short stories and journalistic articles and, you know, I'm not trying to prove myself. I just need to spill my guts. So this used to be my channel to do it on. I had my work channel where I tried to be all professional. And then I had this one where I spilled my guts. So now there's just this. So I've wept. I've been to Dublin today for a hospital appointment, you know, about my shoulder. Like you know, like I've been ridiculously active. So I've had like 2 or 3, well, yeah, 3 major horse riding accidents that affected my left shoulder and back. So one was riding on the beach in Portmarnock, where they have little jumps, they have little walls. They go exercising racehorses there. And my father put a horse there, a racehorse there, Shannaroba, belonged to my sister Fiona. And so he would ride out on the beach in Portmarnock. So for some mad reason, I thought, oh, let me go and do that one day. And but Shannaroba was still green. So even though the wall was only 18 inches, he jumped 5 foot. And I fell off. And I'm telling you, falling on wet sand in Portmarnock in Ireland is like falling on concrete. It really hurt. And then another time, might as well tell stories, why not? They're the truth. Another time I did a parachute jump for charity around the late 70s. And I was fine on the parachute jump. But in the training day or half day, you had to jump off a table and do a judo roll, you know, to practice landing with your parachute. And I hurt my shoulder doing the judo roll. And then I'm cheering myself up already. The parachute jump was hilarious. Like, I had a boyfriend at the time who went on to become a vintage Formula One driver and multi-millionaire. But he was very outdoorsy. So I was trying to be like outdoorsy. Because as an MK Ultra, you chameleon, you blend with whoever you're interacting with. It's just what, you know, anyway. So Yeah, so where was that? How did that second injury happen? Why did Nick come into the equation? Parachute jump. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, the parachute jump was nothing to do with him, right, actually. That was for charity while I was at BCCI. And, oh, yeah. So I managed to enroll a few of my colleagues at BCCI, not knowing it was a CIA-funded money laundering, drug trafficking, Dubai finance, Ark Hassanabdi, Council of 1,000 orchestrated, Joe Biden connected. I knew none of that, right? So I got involved with this charity jump parachute for leukemia or something. And then I enrolled my secretary and a few others. And we went to who knows where. And like there was only so much daylight and there was only so much money invested, you know, to go round and round to drop these charity parachute jumpers off in. And my secretary, Ashkan El Hawari, my Egyptian secretary, she panicked and she didn't want to do it. And so we were the last two jumps of the day. I'd already injured my shoulder jumping off a table, practicing. But I'm like, no, persevere, press through. She panics and does this whole number in the aeroplane or helicopter, whatever it is. And then she loses us like 10 minutes. She finally jumped, but it was like, oh my God. And then the people in charge said, Angie, or Angie, I don't know what they called me, but like, we can't do another circuit. It's nearly dark. So it's like, you just jump or you don't jump. So I'm like, all right, I jump. It turned out I was 3 miles from the base and they'd said, whatever you do, don't hit the ground. Because if you hit the ground, and any paratroopers will know I'm telling the truth, they said if you lie on the ground, we have to mount a rescue. We take that as a signal that you have not survived. So Nanny, as we call Ashkan, Nanny bottled it for 10 minutes and fucked up the timeline. Excuse my language. And so then I jump and like, it's like, and then I'm coming down and then I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I land one side in a field and on the other side is the parachute, which is all made of silk and hugely expensive. And so me with my codependent, like, I can't hit the ground because they'll mount a rescue. And I can't complain that I've landed one side of a barbed wire fence. My tackle's on the other. So I better just make the best of it, which is ridiculous. Let me cry help when I need to. This is a help video. I've been weeping on the way back from Dublin, just weeping. Anyway, so I carefully climbed over the barbed wire fence, being sure not to damage my silk parachute. And then I do this thing that, and anybody else who's done that, you know, this is how you wind up a parachute. And I'm only a dilettante trying to raise a few, you know, a bit of money for charity because that's what we did, right? And unbeknownst to me, there was a big rock in my parachute. So I landed one side of the barbed wire fence, the parachute's on the other. Unbeknownst to me, there's a giant fucking rock in it. And I just do what they've told me and think, oh my God, I'm 3 miles from the hangar in the Brecon Beacons or somewhere crazy. And then I start staggering back to base with my parachute, thinking, this is not even funny. This is not. And I get back to the hangar. I think it was like hours after everybody else had finished. And they're like cheering me and laughing as I come in. And I plonk my silk valuable parachute down. And then they start to unpack it. And they start falling around the place laughing. And I'm nearly crying with exhaustion. I'm the last one to the party. And it's like, and they lift up this rock I've carried 3 miles. They're like, well done. So that was one injury to my shoulder. Fuck that shit. So like, yeah, and then one was like, you know, riding along the beach in Portmarnock. One was doing this stupid ass charity jump. I did raise a lot of money for leukemia. That's what we did. You've got to be careful about discounting every charitable act and every Christian act. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The devil imitates God and good things. So some of it was good. That was my parachute jump, and I have a permanent shoulder injury to vouch for it. And then the other one, well, the other two, I moved my horse Blue, the white mare, the grey mare that I rode to my wedding. I moved her from one place to another with a head collar. I was stupid. I just moved her on a head collar. And she got a fright on a busy road into Oldcastle, and she bucked me off, and I fractured, you know, like, it was a mess. Rotator cuff injury, torn ligaments, tendons, you know, pumping blood from my skull. And I still walked her into town and electric fenced the field behind the Cayley house, which now hosts a 5G mast. So I brought her in, my head's bleeding, my hair's matted with blood, like my shoulder's gone, everything again. And then, but I had to just like make sure she had water, put the fencing up, put the electric fencer on, and then I went to Cavan General. And then the final injury to my shoulder, this is like, I sound insane. The final injury was the Kenya project. We formed a ladies soccer team, Oldcastle ladies, right, to do charity matches. We did charity matches against the Gardaí. We did charity matches against the foreign nationals. We did all these like amazing charity matches. And I was the goalie. And I think I was like in my 50s. And I saved a spectacular goal, and that was my shoulder finished. So anyway, I've been to hospital for that today. And I think we can avoid surgery. And I'm laughing, and it is, you know, I have cheered myself up remembering all the adventures, and I'm trying to be grateful. But I just have to spill my guts on a few things. First of all, oh my God, the Sean Attwood, True Geordie, and his sidekick show. I'm going to have to start vetting what I watch on YouTube. It used to be don't watch mainstream media, and certainly don't watch porn. Now you have to actually self-censor what you watch on YouTube. Is disgusting. It was stomach churning, and I know a lot of people will therefore go and watch it. The depravity and the debauchery that Sean Attwood described, throwing an ex-sexual partner under the bus spectacularly. The only thing that makes me think True Geordie and his sidekick could go deep on that and promote that is they must be in the same circles. And to say that people that have been gangsters and prisoners and hard men, so okay, they're totally desensitized to pornography and like sexual debauchery and depravity. Oh my God, how dare you go into schools? How dare you? How dare you hold yourself up as role models? It makes me sick to my stomach. And to True Geordie and his sidekick, I don't know, John, you know, and I don't follow your work, to be honest, and I'm 63, you know, and I'm not a gangster or an ex-jailbird, but you didn't do your research. Like, the most explosive disclosures thus far is the live stream that Callie did. Callie, you know, the abuse survivor, the Asperger's high functioning, the acquaintance of Sean Attwood for at least 2 years before he interviewed her. If you'd done that much research, you should have found the Callie Diamond disclosure on what is truth. And a lot of people have tried to say that was just a setup. Sean was in the background coughing, and Callie's just a professional liar, and she's just... But no, one very important fact that Callie disclosed was corroborated by somebody I know and respect. Barbara O'Hare, I'll say it. So Callie Diamond, working as a prostitute, amongst other things, survivor, abuse survivor, trafficking survivor, dissociative. She said that the Hells Angels rescued her from a brutal trafficking situation. And more fool you, Callie, for working in the sex industry, but you didn't know any better. I get that. And she says they rescued her and delivered her to Sean Attwood. And according to Callie in that interview, which is still up online, True Geordie, how did you not see this? Are you so famous and so cool that you don't even have to do a modicum of research before you interview someone or give them a platform to defend the indefensible? So Callie said that the Hells Angels delivered her to Sean Attwood for safety. And he said, I don't want to go public with your story right now, but I can give you a job hosting my private sex parties and obviously participating. The second thing is that, and this isn't primarily about Attwood, but the second thing is the way you try to demonize, like, you kind of put Callie up as the little heroine and you were the white knight. But Callie gave a very different story. She said, well, I don't even want to go into it, it's too gross. But check out the Callie Diamond interview on What is Truth podcast. And in my opinion, although Callie stuck by some lies, like the Daddygate video was a prank, it was just to trap Andrew Guy. No, it wasn't. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. But she did drop some truth bombs, one of which was about Sean Attwood's sex parties, which are called English Sean's Entertainment Emporium or some such. And it just seems to me that all these podcasters, if you're not calling out the depravity and the debauchery, the kink community, the Sean Attwood, the Ron Swanson, and so on, the chances are you're in it. The chances are. And it breaks my heart that a generation has been destroyed by pornography, destroyed by no morals, no boundaries, like no concept of loving, committed, exclusive sex, making love to your wife, without cheating. No, it's all this and to laugh and pretend it's normal. What happened? What happened? And even no matter what happened, that's enough already. If you want not to end up where True Geordie said Attwood would likely meet Wildman, if you want to spend an eternity in peace and joy, you've got to just turn away from that shit. The other disgusting thing was Sean, in attempting to eulogize Wildman, recounted, oh, how hilarious. He took the communion out of his mouth, stuck it in his eye and said, I serve the devil. Ha, ha, ha. You know, never a truer word spoken in jest. How dark, how dark, how dark. I apologise to Romola D and Nilu for not showing up on the Wilfred Wong support broadcast last night. I might participate on Friday if there's a slot, but I'm struggling with sharing platforms with people like Jeanette Archer. I do not trust that woman. I'm so sorry. I absolutely don't. She's like John Wedger Mark II to me. I just don't trust her. And I suppose the other thing is, yeah, I feel like just closing. It says that the pathway is narrow. You know, especially towards the end, it's like your options get closed, and you have to really focus on who you are and where you hang your hat. And I'm a born-again Christian, and not all born-again Christians are trafficking children and money laundering. Some are. I agree. So yeah, I'm struggling. I'm not going to do blind faith. I've done this with the Hampstead case. I believed the children. I jumped in and my life changed forever. You know, I believe possibly now Elisa's 15. She's got her own socials. She seems fairly embedded in the cult. You know, I wonder if I met Elisa in the street and said, sweetheart, do you want to get free? She might not say yes. I don't know. So, you know, it says in the Bible, love your neighbor as yourself. We have to keep our own sanity and stability and rooted and grounded. For me, rooted and grounded in Jesus Christ. There's no other way. There's no other option. So the other thing that's been torturing me is I've thrown my hat in with Talk New York, and I love them. I love the praise and worship. I love just everything, their spirit, their audacity, their faith, and so on. But I'm afraid of prophecies that say we will never go to war with China, and yet China, you know, allegedly we've just killed 50,000 Chinese in an underground bunker. You know, allegedly there's a face-off in the, you know, in the sea off America, and then so many people staked their prophetic reputation on saying, you know, Trump's going to serve a second term, and I wish he did, but he sold us out with the no-hide laws, and it looks like he's selling us out with the vaccines, and Pfizer and all that. So it's like there is, let God be true and every man a liar. So I've just cried driving to Dublin and driving back, and just said, God, I can, the final bit of news, and this is just like blur, but this is what I do. This is all I can guarantee you, is that I will be authentic. I will tell the truth as I see it and as I experience it. So the final devastation is, so first of all, Andy was contacted by a German person saying they were connected to the mother in the Wilfred Wong case, which I believe is true. And then I appealed to that person in German and said, look, I'm fairly fluent, I'm rusty, but I'm fairly fluent. So then we interacted, and then this person handed my details to Anka's father. And Anka's father is 82 and a doctor, and he's spent 2.5 years in the UK early on in his training. And I wonder why. Of course, I wonder why. I hope it was nothing to do with MK Ultra or Tavistock or Maudsley or any of the places that, you know, experimented on my mother and my siblings and myself. But I can be over I can be over sensitized. You know, the thing about the truth movement is you can become so distrusting that you trust nobody and you actually throw the baby out with the bathwater, which could be happening around the Wilfred One case, although the connections with Jubilee Ministries and Cox, oh my goodness, Buxall, Stowmarket, Joe Cox, the MP that mysteriously was murdered. There's some dark shade around all that stuff. So I still have the utmost admiration for Nikki and Barb and T and different people. And I have the utmost reservations about people like John Wedger and Jeanette Archer saying, oh yeah, no mercy on the children, now we're going to name them and shape them, you go after them. It's like, you know what? Terry Joyce, shame on you too, but you know, can't be bothered. So let me see if that's just my heart's cry. I just want to get it off my shoulders that it does feel better just to say this is the jumble of thoughts in my mind. You know, even the whole Israel, Zionism, COVID, end times, eschatology, everything is like, show me the truth, God, show me the truth. This is crazy. So my bottom line is I will do an interview, please God. You know, Callie Diamond said she was going to do an interview with me, and then she was a no-show. I just wanted to ask her about Wilfred One. You know, I still passionately care, Lisa and Gabriel, if you watch my work, I still passionately care for your children. I still passionately want you to be free and healed and able to tell the truth, even if it takes you a lifetime. I want justice in that case. And if, you know, my information today is that Anka, the mother of the child in the Anglesey case, Wilfred One case, has pled guilty, as has her alleged sister-in-law. And not just that, but have, under pressure, I very much suspect, under duress, hung the blame on Wilfred One. So I still err on the side of he's a good Christian man that got absolutely entrapped, and he could suffer from the same trait of naivete that I do. Or he may be one of them, I don't know. I'm open to all. Or Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. The book of James says, if you ask for wisdom, God will give it without criticism or condemnation, in abundance. And the Bible also says the Holy Spirit leads us into all truth. So I'm giving it to God. I hope to interview Dr. Siegert, the mother, the grandfather of the child involved. I've asked a trusted researcher to verify the birth of the child to the alleged parents, you know, and I'll just keep talking. I'll do another show with Andy, and perhaps we'll talk on Ramola's platform Friday if she'll still have us. But the truth is, I find it difficult to share a platform with people like Jeanette Archer. I find it difficult to share a platform with people that are channeling and doing all this weird new age shit. Like, you know, it's like from the frying pan to the fire. You so-called rescue SRA survivors, and then you lead them off down a completely demonic pathway of channeling and witchcraft, basically. So look, I'm not judging any witches, any prostitutes. Those are the kind of people Jesus would have ministered to, and I just want to be like him. And I just feel better for getting this off my chest. I don't have COVID. I didn't sleep much for the last month or 6 weeks. I lost my mum, and lots of, you know, mixed emotions about that. No rose-coloured glasses. And yeah, so I've been to Dublin today, back. So the good news is probably don't need surgery at this stage. And there's my blur. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to. You know, it might be limited. It might be, its timeline might be limited, but thanks again to my assistant who's helping me back everything up and re-upload it on BitChute or this channel. So bear with me and I'll get back online tomorrow. I was going to do a Bible study to cheer myself up, but sometimes the truth is a Bible study. And being honest is a Bible study. It's like we don't have to be holier than thou or religious. We can just tell the truth and know that that's what Jesus would have us do. All right, God bless people.